When I first moved to Jamaica in the 90s, I expected to hear reggae being played on the radio stations. And of course dancehall, at least the clean stuff. That was the rhythm of Jamaica, its lifeblood. But what I wasn't expecting to hear was so much American country music. Jim Reeves, Marty Robbins, Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton. Jamaicans love their country. They grew up on these songs. They knew the words, and it really didn't take me long to figure out why the connection ran so deep. You see, before Jamaica had ska, rocksteady, or reggae, country music was there, giving a voice to ordinary Jamaicans that left their country and rural homes to seek work in the city, only to discover the loneliness and isolation that came with leaving home. And when you think about all the great voices that have sung about that journey, about the struggles and the victories of ordinary life and love, I would put Dolly Parton alongside music's greatest legends. And while generations of Jamaicans grew up listening to Dolly, very few people know that she returned the favor by recording a reggae version of one of her own songs.
Rootsland nation, the channel test.
Back when I worked for Bob Andy at Tough Gong Records, he invited me over to Morgan's Harbour for an oldies show. And before I got there, I figured I knew exactly who was going to be there. I expected Kingston's elite, business owners, politicians, doctors, lawyers. But when I got there, I realized I was completely wrong. These were office workers, salespeople, shopkeepers, taximen, ordinary blue-collar working Jamaicans who built a little life for themselves. For many, they were the first generation to leave their poor country parishes and come to Kingston, looking for work, an opportunity, and a better life. And I can see in their eyes, when they sang along with those songs, those ska and rocksteady tunes, the music was taking them back somewhere, back to a place and a time, maybe back to people that weren't even around anymore. And for a few moments, those songs gave them something that all the opportunities in Kingston couldn't, a little piece of home. And that's part of what I think I missed about the Jamaican connection to country music. Because much like working class Americans, many of the Jamaicans had left the country for the city, believing that life was going to be better. And when they got there, they discovered that wasn't necessarily true, which might explain why one of the most unlikely covers in Jamaican music became one of its most beloved hits. Toots changed West Virginia to West Jamaica. But other than that, he really didn't have to change much. Because underneath it, the song Take Me Home Country Roads is a song about somebody who wants to go home, to where they belong. And that meant something in Jamaica. Because by then, generations of people who had left their parishes and settled in Kingston, they may have found work. They may have raised families and had better lives. But that didn't mean that they stopped missing where they came from. The place where they belonged, and where they felt welcome. And it wasn't only Jamaicans who left the country for the city who understood that feeling. Thousands more left Jamaica altogether, heading to England, America, and Canada, looking for opportunity, the proverbial streets paved with gold. And when some of them got there, they discovered abroad wasn't necessarily any better than Jamaica. Bob Andy knew that story well when he sang, "Can't find no clothes to wear, can't find no food to eat, can't get a job to get bread. That's why I've got to go back home."
Myself, because can't get no clothes to wear, can't get no food to eat, can't get a job to get bread. That's why I've got to go back home.
And home. Maybe that's what it all comes back to. The source that connects country music and reggae. So many people left their home looking for something better. Some of them found it. They raised families. They built lives they probably couldn't have even imagined before they left. But eventually they also discovered that leaving home had a cost. Because home is more than a place you come from. It's your homeland. It's your roots. It's your culture. And it takes leaving to understand how much of that you actually carry with you. And I don't think anybody sang about those unmet expectations with more soul than Dolly Parton. She was a country girl who left home herself and became one of the biggest stars in the world. And somehow, she never seemed to be embarrassed about where she came from. She carried her country roots with her and refused to conform to anyone's definition of what a star was supposed to be. There was an honesty and a purity in Dolly's voice that came right through those records. And I think that's one reason that she connected with people thousands of miles away from Tennessee, including generations of Jamaica. And hearing about Dolly's passing, I imagine there are going to be a lot of people remembering their parents and grandparents playing those old country records when they were kids. Maybe they haven't thought about those songs or those records or those people in years. And while generations of Jamaicans grew up listening to Dolly, years later she would return the favor, recording a reggae version of one of her own songs for an album that celebrated that long connection between the two forms of music, appropriately titled Country Goes Reggae. Here's Dolly Parton, 2 Doors Down.